Okay, so
That is what.
okay, okay, fine. Okay, we'll see. Okay, during our discussion, maybe you can raise all your concerns. I believe what all the discussions you Rajsekhar you are making here will be delivered. Okay, don't worry on that. Okay, so fine guys. Okay, let's start with our context. Okay, so let's go and draw the architecture. I believe whatever the architecture I'm drawing here. Okay, I believe if you have any further questions on that, you can raise now itself. Okay, no worries for me. Okay. Okay, so let me share my screen.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Okay, so first and foremost thing, let's go for the drawing screen. Okay, and we'll see how exactly the architecture is there. I will put the architecture first. Okay, I'll put the architecture first, and if you think okay that particular architecture is if you have any questions or the architecture is not so clear, first let's discuss the architecture. Then I think we will go further. Okay, no worries on that. Okay, fine. Right, guys. Okay, let me open a new one. I have an existing architecture, but I don't want to confuse you. I will draw the architecture for you so that you will get exact sense, okay, how exactly the architectures will be there in the real time. Okay. Okay, fine guys. Okay. The first and foremost thing I think I believe you already have some basics. That is the reason I think I'll go a bit fast. I think just try to catch that. If you are unable to catch, let me know. Okay, fine. So basically, so whenever in your real time as a DevOps engineer, once you move to a company, obviously you will be deployed to your client location, right? That's the basic thing, first and foremost thing. I'm just taking this guy as a Rajsekhar. Okay. So Rajsekhar, I'm just considering him. Okay. So he is the one, for example, he is the one got selected for Accenture. Just assume he got selected for Accenture. Obviously, once you go to the Accenture, I think obviously they will look for any of the clients where they're expecting some Azure DevOps engineer or Azure architect or Azure admin, whoever it is, okay. So obviously the Accenture will think, okay, so Raja, can you please go there and attend a company called Singtel and give an interview there. Obviously Raja will go there and he will just give an interview. So if the client feels really good about the Raja, okay, Raja has a very good skill set, why don't you offer him? Obviously there is a relation between the Accenture and the client, and they will offer you something. That is one normal process, which we know, right? So now, once Raja is got deployed into the client location, how exactly and what exactly Raja should behave? Okay, this is the main thing which you need to understand. Okay, I'm taking the client here. Okay, so this guy is a client. Okay, just assume this guy is a client. How exactly you need to be careful when you are in the client location? That is what the thing I'm going to explain here. Okay, the first and foremost thing. What is the role you went for the client location? You went for the client location or for the Azure DevOps role, right? It's Azure DevOps role. Obviously, you may think, okay, Azure DevOps roles means, okay, if I am well aware of the repos creation of build pipelines, release pipeline, that is more than enough. You will think like that, but don't ever think like that, first and foremost thing, okay? They may ask you anything. You should be able to handle that request. That is very important thing, okay? Very important thing, trust me. Okay, fine. So I'm just giving a simple context. Usually, whenever you go for a real time, right? So the first and foremost thing, as a DevOps engineer, usually you will fall into a common request, like I think the agent registration. I believe this one already you know, okay? Agent registration in ADO, Azure DevOps, okay? I believe this particular thing is already you know. Oh, what kind of agent registration? It's a VM agent. How exactly you are registering? It's a normal VM registration. Next, you can register this one as a container. Next, you can register this one as a Kubernetes pod as well. There are three types which you can make sure your VM got registered in the Azure DevOps. Now, I think most of you already aware, I believe. Maybe if you don't aware, not an issue. I will quickly explain this part. What is this one? What is this registration part and all, how exactly this works? Okay, I'm just considering this one. This is a portal, okay? This is a Azure portal. Okay, I'm just considering this is a I'm just considering, okay? This is Azure DevOps. This one you know very well. These are the two different portals where you can sense, right? DevOps. Okay, the first and foremost thing as a DevOps engineer, what Raja exactly needs to do once you go to the company, obviously the client or whatever the client may have their own subscription, may have their own portal subscription, and there is a regional infra also from the client side. This one you need to take a look. Okay, you need to take a look. What is this regional infra? What is the importance of the regional infra? So once Raja deployed to a client location, Raja will think, okay, I can do anything in the portal, each and everything I can control. He thinks like that, but actually practically not possible. You know why? Always subscription owner will be the regional infra, not Raja. That's the point you need to understand. That particular subscription completely managed by the client, because that is owned by the client, right? Obviously they will never put their complete ownership to Raja, because Raja is a vendor. Raja is a vendor. They will not keep complete ownership under Raja. Usually they will keep the ownership with their regional infra. This is their regional infra, remember that. Now, Raja needs to maintain a very good relationship with their regional infra. The reason for that one is, for example, the client is asking Raja, hey Raja, can you please go to the portal? The client, just example, simple example I'm giving now, okay? The client is saying, hey Raja, I have an on-premises application. I have an on-premises application. In the on-premises application, we have a Java, which is running over there with a database, right? So these two are simply there with React, for example, the React.js. Okay, so these things are there in their on-premises. Okay, for example, now React.js is connecting to the Java is connecting to the, maybe I'll keep in a sequence, maybe it makes sense for you. Okay, I'm just keeping this one here. I think it makes sense. Okay, now the point here is, guys, okay, so once the client is asking Raja, hey Raja, we recruited you as a ADO, and we understand you can handle the deployments along with the architecture, a little knowledge on the architecture as well. That's why we're requesting you, can you please go there and deploy React.js, Java and DB into the Azure cloud? This is the request actually the client is making to Raja. What Raja needs to plan? What exactly Raja needs to plan here? This is Azure cloud. The first and foremost thing the Raja needs to think about, I'll come to this box a bit later now, okay? I'll come to this one. Raja needs to think about, okay, client is asking to deploy these things into the Azure cloud. Raja needs to pick a suitable components to deploy these things into the cloud. Okay, fine. Obviously, he will think, okay, one of the best in the market today's trending is the Kubernetes. Why don't I consider a Kubernetes and simply deploy React.js and Java inside as a pod and connect to the DB? Why don't you do that? Of course, you can do that. No one will stop you. That is a good solution only. I'm not stopping you that. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, fine. So Raja is thinking, okay, I will consider one AKS, one Kubernetes cluster in the cloud. Okay, one AKS, one database. These two are sufficient for you. Now the question for Raja is, okay, now again, the client will ask, okay, Raja, I think you already picked the suitable components. Can you please go there and start setting up the repo, start setting up the pipeline, start deploying those particular code or package to the Kubernetes? That is Raja's job. Obviously, he will do. I believe you are already at that level, should be able to deploy something to the Kubernetes cluster, I'm sure. Okay, fine. Once you deploy to the Kubernetes cluster, you will expose an URL for the client. Hey client, I have deployed things successfully. Why don't you take an access and check your application is working as expected or not? Obviously, client will ensure, okay, everything is good or not. They will verify. Now, the problems for Raja will tell. This is a real-time problem. What Raja will get? First and foremost thing, Raja always needs to make sure application consisting of HTTPS. Okay, remember this one. Always Raja needs to make sure, okay, it is completely secure. Okay, encrypted. HTTPS, not HTTP exposing. That is wrong. If Raja did only HTTP expose, you definitely the client will not think about Raja as, I think he's not a very good, definitely he will think like, client will think like, he's not a very good DevOps or architect. The first thing you need to keep in your mind is the application you need to expose as HTTPS As a cloud engineer, that's the best practice what you need to make sure. You try for that. You try for that HTTPS, okay? Keep this particular rule in your mind, okay? Right. So once you have exposed HTTPS, the second point what Raja exactly needs to think here is that particular AKS and DB should be private. That's a basic thing now, okay? Should be private. You should not expose to the public. If you are able to expose to the public, you are not a good DevOps guy. You are not a good architect. You are not a good cloud engineer as well. Don't do that, okay? Right. So this is a private. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Now I'm asking a question. Now what exactly? So if he is taking about at least these two, there is another level which is Raja needs to add firewalls. He needs to add a firewall to that particular component. Whatever the component you are trying to expose to the client. You tell me one thing. For example, I will simply draw this architecture, no worries for you. I will simply draw this architecture discussion. This discussion architecture I can place maybe in the next 5 minutes. You just think you need to add a WAF, web application firewall, to expose that endpoint to the client. Why we need to attach the WAF, web application firewall? To just safeguard your application from different SQL injections or any kind of attacks. So to safeguard your application, you don't know what kind of attacks will be there for your application. Always, it's a very good practice to integrate a WAF for your front-end part of your application. That's a basic thing. Okay? You need to make sure these three things are there with that particular application first. Now, the problem will come for Raja here is, it's not a problem. If Raja is a smart, I think obviously he can deal. The client will ask Raja, hey Raja, I can able to access the application very well. Now I want to access the database separately. That's the question they will raise. Now Raja is thinking about, okay, how to provide an access for a client for the database. That's a basic thing. Usually he will get a question. Now you tell me guys, usually, how exactly you will give this database access for the client? I just want to listen from you all. Okay. I don't know whether you got my question or not. Let me do one small thing for you. I'm getting echoing, Who is talking here? Yeah, can you please try to talk now?
Expose only a client network to the database.
Expose only. Sorry. Come again, please. Who is this? Come again, please.
Expose the client virtual network, like client set of IP addresses to access the database.
Okay, wait.
Without exposing to the whole network.
Okay, fine. So I don't know whether you know this particular. You already know the database with the jump host connection, right? Yes. You know already database connection with the jump host, right?
What RK?
No. Okay. Just mute yourself, guys. Okay, I don't know why I'm getting echoing. Seems to be the same network. I think people are joined. Okay, we'll do one thing. Okay, let me draw one small thing. Okay, if you sense something, let me know. Okay, if you say I think in between this concept, I will stop it. Okay, no worries on that. So for example, this is a Vnet. Just assume this is a Vnet. Okay. Obviously, Raja will think, okay, so when the client asks the Raja will request a Vnet cider. We'll call this particular thing as a cider, right? A cider to the regional infra. The regional infra will allocate a cider for Raja. Hey, regional infra. From here. Raja will ask regional infra. The moment when the client make a request to Raja, this is the first task Raja needs to do in the real time. Hey, regional infra, I got a request from the client. Could you please help me to provide a cider? A cider means some cider notation, maybe address space, which is nothing but an address space. For example, 5.0.0/22, for example. So this is the cider I'm just considering now. Okay. Now the question is, when Raja makes this cider request to the regional infra, they will provide him immediately. Now Raja needs to think, okay, I need to divide this particular Vnet into different subnets. Now I'm just taking one subnet here. This is subnet 1, taking subnet 2, taking subnet 3. I'm just taking 4 different subnets, maybe just for example, like this. Now I'm dividing this particular cider maybe equally 10.5.0.0/24. right? Because this is a 256. I believe you know the calculations, okay? 10.5.1.0/24. Okay, 10.5.2.0/24. Another one 10.5.3.0/24. Making sense, right? 256, 256, 256, 256. Total 404 into 256, 1024. 1024 address spaces. Raja think, okay, I can distribute like this. Okay, makes sense. Why we are converting a Vnet into subnets, you know? The reason is we cannot manage a 1024 address space. You cannot sit there and you cannot safeguard each and every IP. That is not possible. That's why you need to split that one into the different small units. Now you have a chance to attach a security group for each subnet so that you can safeguard that particular subnet. That's the technique which you need to think always, okay? Now the actual question is, the client requested Raja, I want to access the database. Simple thing. Now, just assume Raja deployed a database in one of the subnet here. I'm just taking one of the subnet here. I think you deployed this particular, your database into this particular subnet. Just assume. Okay, I'm just keeping here now. Now the question is, here is your client, okay? Here is your client. Now the client is asking, okay, now tell me, this is a private database. I'm just telling that one as a private database, okay? When the client is accessing this particular database, when client is trying to access this particular database, is it possible for the client to hit the database? A question to you all. Is it possible for the client to hit the database? It's a private database, I'm saying.
So,
come on, guys, it's a private DB.
okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. No, you just
I think it's not possible to.
Yeah, okay. Fine. Why? No worries. No, guys, just be friendly. Just talk whatever the questions you have. No worries. Yeah.
Because it is inside this subnet, and I think it has a separate DNS, like private DNS, private database, right? So we should add him as we should add his role in AD, something like to give permission to particular private DB. Am I right?
No. You are halfway right, Rashid. Halfway right, actually. I think first initially you are right. I think you just diverted. Okay, any other? Oh, guys, this is the basic thing which you need to sort it out on the day one, okay? Day one in your company. The simple thing is, okay? The simple thing here is, okay, what exactly you need to do, I will tell. Okay? The client cannot hit the database. That is impossible. Take this one out, okay? The only way to access this particular database, usually in real time, how exactly things will happen. I'm just taking another one, okay? Another one here. Where is a virtual mission? I think I can search somewhere. I don't know, I'm not seeing that. No worries, okay? I'm not seeing that. No worries, okay? So I'm just taking one particular circle here. Okay, this circle is nothing but a VM. Just assume, okay? It's a VM. I'm just making this one as a small. This is a virtual machine which you need to deploy into this particular, any subnet. Even in this subnet also you can deploy, not an issue. The point is, this particular VM, you need to allocate a public IP. Okay? You need to allocate a public IP for that VM, and you need to ask the client, oh, hey client, please connect to the VM first. Then, by default, all VNet subnets can communicate each other, right? That is possible. That's the basic rule, right? All subnet components inside a VNet can communicate each other. So, VM can communicate with the database without any doubt. But if you allow the client to the VM location, obviously, he can hit the database. Simple connection. Now, how to do this one? This is a simple connection. Okay, these are called jump host VM. This is called jump host VM. If you provision a VM in this particular subnet, obviously this particular client has an opportunity to connect to this particular database, okay, without any doubt. Okay, maybe I will this particular thing I don't want to go in detail because this is the basic thing. I will ask just Ravi to just share a video, okay, on recorded video or whatever we have earlier. Okay, maybe you can get a sense exactly how exactly this connection works. The practically I showed in one of the video. I think you can just get that video from him. Okay. I don't want to go in detail about that one, guys. Okay, that's it. Completely our syllabus will be deviated. Okay, guys, I think this is the one exactly basically Raja is thinking. Now, when Raja is deploying Azure Kubernetes pods, I mean all React and Java, always Azure DevOps to portal, because AKS is sitting in the portal side, right? But DevOps consisting of a DevOps cycle, right? DevOps cycle, basically the DevOps cycle here is report followed by build pipeline, right? And followed by release pipeline, right? By using service connection, obviously this release pipeline will be deployed. Release pipeline will go and deploy to this particular by using this particular service connection, easily the release pipeline can go and deploy an application to the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, that is quite possible. Now, why I explained this one, when you are deploying from a release pipeline or building or releasing, these two activities are require a virtual machine. I believe you already know. You need a virtual machine to perform these two tasks. That particular virtual machine can be a VM, can be a container, can be a Kubernetes pod. This is what I'm telling you guys. Maybe you may get doubt, what is this container, what is the pod and all. Just go to registering, okay, registering a VM as a container in ADO, something like that. Okay, you can check something ADO agent. Okay, just as an agent, I think you can get some documentation. Okay, yeah, fine. Maybe you can check the documentation here. Beautiful documentation which you can go through simply. You don't need to ask any person also. Okay, see, run agent as in Docker. Run agent as in Docker. If you go there and check this one, here is the documentation how to run an agent as a Docker. This is the exact process I'm telling. Always use the Ubuntu machines, Linux machines. So just implement the steps whatever is there here. Just go to a VM and open the terminal in the VM, create a directory, go to the directory, create a file with the Docker file, and just if it is Ubuntu 18, if it is Ubuntu 20. Once that is done, then I think whatever they are saying, just keep this particular sh folder, shell scripting folder in the same Docker agent folder, and finally scroll down and just build it. Obviously, you can build an image, you can build a latest image, right? You can build a latest image. That particular image as a container will be registered for your Azure DevOps and your operations will be performed. So that is the thing. Okay, that was exactly that. So the next level is a Kubernetes pod. This is the best model which you can think. Okay, that's the next level. Okay, all right. Okay, why I am discussing this one first and foremost thing. You need to have an idea what exactly the roles and each and everything. When you are setting up a project, what exactly you need to think about it. These things and all, just to have an idea for you. Now I'm just going further as part of this implementation. Okay, as part of this implementation, I'm just going there and just drawing the architecture. Okay, when you're going for an architecture, I'm just going for the Azure icons. Just go there for the Azure icons. Basically, you can get the Azure icons from this particular documentation. Just go there. Just I think I think you can download the all Azure icons somewhere here. Yeah, I agree, and download SVG icons. Okay, just download this one. In your real time also, you may get the same thing. Okay, you may get the same thing, but what exactly you need to do here is, okay, you just need to go inside of this particular thing and you can see all these things over there. Now I'm going to draw an architecture. What is the architecture? You already know, I believe. Okay, I think from Raja I understand. I think you are already aware of the architecture. I'm just going there and drawing the architecture again. I will give one more double confirmation for you on the architecture. If you have any questions, maybe you can ask as well. Okay, right. The first and foremost thing, right? So you know very well that, right? So basically, okay, I will take the same context. Okay, what client is asking Raja? The client is asking Raja, okay, they want to deploy a React application and the Java application into this particular Kubernetes cluster. Into the Kubernetes cluster, in the sense, first and foremost thing, Raja needs to think about the Vnet. Okay, Raja is thinking about the Vnet. So now I'm just drawing an architecture as part of our flow, guys. Okay, just go there for the integration somewhere, networking. I think it's a networking. Just a second, guys. Okay, I think there is a networking, right? Yeah, networking. Okay, there is an icon called virtual network. Yeah, virtual network. Okay, just copy this virtual network and just paste over there. Oh, no. What happened? It should be okay, right? Oh, SVG format I don't have, seems to be. Okay. Yeah, okay, makes sense. Okay, so I got the virtual network. This is the virtual network basically. You are seeing here, right? Just take this icon, just keep this particular icon here. I'm drawing architecture, guys. Okay, the beautiful architecture we'll see in few seconds. Okay, this is a VNet. Okay, now Raja is thinking, okay, this is a VNet, right? I'm just giving a name for that. Okay, this is a VNet. Okay, as part of this particular thing. Once this particular VNet is there, now Raja is thinking, okay, he needs to plan about this particular CIDR. I already mentioned 1024, just example now. 1024 he planned, and on 1024 IP addresses out of 1024 to 512 he's delegating for the AKS, and just 128 maybe, or 256 maybe, just I'm just considering. Okay, 256 he's delegating for the DB, and followed by maybe the 256 is there. 256 is not really needed for only one component. Maybe you can use, maybe virtual machine is required. Why virtual machine is required? Virtual machine is required for the deployment. Virtual machine is required for the jump host. That is really important. Okay, I'm just keeping for now remaining 256 for the VM, or otherwise 128 for the VM, 128 for the VM. Even that is also more than enough. Another 128 for additional, maybe additional. Oh, okay. And one more thing is required. 128, right? So ingress is ingress. For ingress, 128 is required for me. So this is the CIDR basically. I'm just planning here. Okay, I'm just planning the CIDR like this. Maybe if you think, okay, for this VM, usually I will go only 1 or 2 instance. If you think it is too much, maybe you can think, okay, just 64. That is also more than enough. Still you are left with 192. So sorry, still you are left with another 64. No worries on that. Okay, fine. This is your plan. Okay, this is exactly Raja is thinking about. Okay, fine. So the first and foremost thing, since I need to launch a Kubernetes cluster, so that's the important thing we need to do. Okay, so to go for the Kubernetes cluster, just go there. There's somewhere you can see Kubernetes cluster. Just let me double check, guys. Okay, let me double check. Okay, Kubernetes cluster, right? App services, CDN profiles. Just a second. Integration. No. Let's go further, and somewhere Kubernetes cluster will be there. Okay, compute. Okay, guys, can you please check where the Kubernetes cluster is? Kubernetes service. Okay, Kubernetes services. Okay, the Kubernetes services we can see here. Okay, just come here, go back, and just come here, just paste out there. This is the Kubernetes icon which I pulled it. Okay, I'm going to launch a Kubernetes cluster which sits inside of this particular thing. Okay, I'm just keeping a Kubernetes cluster inside, guys. Okay, just come here, and just bring this one, over there, and just keep that one over here. Okay, that's perfectly all right. And just go for the arrange to back, send backward, maybe just to frontward. Okay, that makes sense. Right? See, you have placed this particular Kubernetes cluster also. Maybe you will keep it aside, and I'm just giving a name for your reference so that you will be very clear on this one. Okay, okay, fine. So I'm just taking this particular thing as AKS and just come here. Okay, okay, fine, all right. Okay, so once you are here, right? So now the next important thing. Okay, he planned for the AKS. You know one thing, whenever you are launching AKS, obviously you will launch VMSS. I believe you're already aware. What is VMSS? Virtual Machine Scale Set, right? So there is a VMSS which you need to take care of that particular thing as well. Somewhere it will be there, some VMSS, Virtual Machine Scale Set. Okay, I'm just copying this particular icon, going there and just pasting over there. Okay, this is VMSS. Now my point is VMSS is nothing but a collection of virtual machines. Now what exactly I'm drawing here is I'm just drawing few things over there, right? Few things over there. I'm just drawing a particularly some zones. Maybe I'm just drawing for you. Okay, just to maintain the zonal availability always. So always whenever you are selecting your node pool is nothing but VMSS. Node pool, you will maintain a high availability. That's why I'm just calling this one as a zone 1, for example, zone 1, and this is zone 2, and this is zone 3. Okay, zone 3. Okay, right. So I'm just calling this particular zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. Now the point here is there is a VMSS which you are seeing here. Now whatever the VMSS is there, basically that particular VMSS will span across different zones. Now that's the point you need to understand to maintain high availability. For example, this VMSS consisting of 3 nodes. Node 1 will be deployed here. Node 2 will be deployed here. Node 3 will be deployed here. Node in the sense virtual machine, guys. Okay, will be deployed like that. Okay, all right. Now you may need some PostgreSDB as well. For example, if you need a database, right? If you need a database, I'm just going there, and as part of this particular implementation, there you can send something like databases, right? Just come here, the Postgres, okay, Postgres SQL Server, okay, whatever it is, okay. Just take this particular thing, okay. What's the difference between these Postgres? Database, Postgres Server, okay. I think one is fine. I'm just saying one particular thing, right? So PostgreSDB, whatever it is, okay. I'm just copying this one more, okay. Just come here, just paste over there. Where is it? This is the Postgres database, okay. Don't worry on that. Just bring that PostgreSDB here. Remember one thing, guys. Very important thing. I'm going to tell one thing. Remember one thing. I'm just drawing one more liner, maybe for your better understanding. Okay. One more liner. I'm just drawing on top of this one. Just give me a second, eh? Just give me a second. Sorry. Okay, so now I'm just taking this one also here as part of this implementation. I'm just keeping on top of it, okay, on top of it, and just keep this particular thing arranged to print forward, back. I think everything is there, right? I think my border is missing, seems to be border color. I don't know, border will come around. Just a second, guys, okay. Actually, border is there. It's not visible. Just a second, huh? Yeah, 1 second. Border color makes sense. Okay, so just a second now. Arrange perfectly. All right. Just a second, guys. I think we are missing something. No worries. Let me do one small thing. Okay, let it be. Okay, let it be. Okay, just leave this one. Okay, on top of it, okay, what I can do here is maybe I'll just connect the dot heads. Okay, because I just want to make each and everything to be very transparent so that you will understand, okay, what exactly each and everything. So that is the only thing I'm just looking here now. Okay. Because I'm trying to show you the subnets as well, so that's what I'm just trying, so that you will be very clear how exactly the subnets are planned and how exactly the subnets are there. Okay, that is what exactly the thing. Okay, don't worry guys. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so this is one subnet basically which I'm talking about. Okay, this is one subnet, so right, so whatever you are seeing, okay, and this is another subnet. Okay, this is another subnet. Whatever the subnet, maybe I will just close the subnets, okay, so that you will get an idea. I'm just keeping a subnet here and just closing the subnet with this one. Okay, and just copy this particular thing, just come here. Okay, okay, so that is one subnet, guys. I think another subnet I'm just drawing here, just for your information. Be very clear, because I know for real time you don't need to draw the subnet level things. Just ignore the subnet level things, because you don't need to be that much transparent. Okay, but why I'm drawing this particular thing, because you need to be very clear on how exactly the subnetting is planned. Okay, that's the only reason. Okay, all right, we are almost there. Okay, fine, yes. Okay, I'm just keeping this one. Okay, so my point is, this is one subnet which is AK subnet, another subnet that is DB subnet. Now my point to be noted, guys. Okay, I'm just giving a connection here. This particular connection is connected to the database to this particular Kubernetes cluster. That's the point you need to understand. That's the basic thing which you are going to see here. Okay, so the AKS cluster is getting connected with the Kubernetes cluster. So I believe you understand that particular line, right? If you understand that one, that's more than fine. Okay, more than enough for me. Okay, oh yes, okay, fine. It's okay. I will put the color at the bottom at the last. Okay, no worries. Fine. So once you are done with this particular thing, AKS and the Kubernetes cluster got connected. These two are sitting in the two different subnets, but the subnets can communicate each other. That's the point which you need to think about. And there comes the another one, okay, which is an ingress. Right? You know one thing, always the Kubernetes consisting of max of 3 services. The first service is the cluster IP, another one is the node port, another one is the load balancer. But each and every service has its own drawbacks. That's why the best approach here is the ingress. Okay, that's why we'll go for the ingress. Ingress will make sure always a super routing to the different services. That's the benefit of the ingress. So that is why always we'll prefer that. Now I'm just going there. We'll call that one as AGIC, We'll call that one as AGIC, means Application Gateway Ingress Controller. So that is one of the component in Azure, okay. I'm just going there for especially the integration, okay. Sorry guys, yeah. Application Gateway Ingress Controller. This is API management, it's okay. At least if I say the application gateway, that is also fine for me, That is also fine for me. I'm just double checking, guys. Just double checking. I don't think so that one will be here. Yeah, application gateway is here. Application gateway is here, okay. I'm just copying this application gateway as part of this particular thing. Okay, fine. That's fine. Okay, I'm just copying this particular application gateway. Where is the application gateway? Application gateway is sitting here. Now my question is, guys, you need to think one thing very clearly. Okay, you may think always one particular point, okay? One particular point. That is, okay, you may think you need to expose your particular service to the public, right? That's what usually you will think. When you're exposing your service to the public, always you will think, I think your application needs to be well protected, right? Well protected. To make sure should be well protected, always you will think about few things, okay. So for example, if you use application gateway, nothing wrong in that, that's absolutely all right. But the problem with that one is, there is a problem with that one, okay. I will tell the problem. If you use application gateway, that particular Azure is providing application gateway ingress controller, okay. I'm just keeping AGIC. I don't find an icon, but should be there, okay. I'm just keeping AGIC here, guys, okay. AGIC, this is application, font color, right? Yeah, I think why white came. Okay, so I'm just keeping one of the color, okay, one of the color. Just a second. What is the problem with this one? Apply it, yeah. So I'm just considering one of the component, okay, which is AGIC, okay, something like that. The point here is your application gateway, whatever the application gateway is there, and that one will be connected. Usually that one will be connected. That one will be connected to the AGIC. Right, AGIC, and the AGIC will be connected. AGIC will be connected to your particular service. Okay, AGIC is responsible to route your traffic to the proper services, different services. That is absolutely all right. That one we know already. Okay, we know already. Now I will tell few problems here. What are the problems you are getting in real time? Okay, especially whenever you are using AGIC. Sometimes this particular AGIC to route. To just, for example, AGIC, what is AGIC? AGIC consisting of some rules. That's all, right? Whenever you are deploying a rule or you are updating a rule, sometimes Azure is reporting it is taking more than an hour. We don't know even whether it will be sorted out or not. Sometimes. So that is why my recommendation is using AGIC is not a better approach always, because even Azure also reporting the same issue. Okay. Now the best approach here is, instead of using application gateway ingress controller, why don't you use NGINX ingress? Okay, NGINX ingress. Okay, why don't you use this one? If you use NGINX ingress, obviously your particular application gateway route traffic will come to the NGINX ingress, and the NGINX ingress is responsible to route the traffic to the respective services. This one will take care. NGINX. Of course, why only NGINX? You can use HA proxy as well. HA proxy is also one of the NGINX in the market. But this is a well-versed and well-used one. Okay, always people will use this. Now my point is, whenever you are dealing with such kind of thing, always the application gateway is a public, followed by the AGIC, forget about this one, followed by NGINX is internal. This is an internal IP. Application gateway is getting connected to the internal IP, and this particular internal is routing the traffic to the different services. That could be a React, that could be a backend, whatever it is, app 1 or app 2, app 3. So this is the technique usually, I think, a best recommended approach. Okay, I can give you one example also somewhere I saw. Internal ingress Somewhere I think this one. I don't recall actually. Just a second, man. I have seen that example. Yeah. I think this is the one of the best example, guys. If you see this one, when the outsider is trying to hit the public IP, this public IP is nothing but application gateway IP. Okay, and that is getting connected to the internal ingress. That particular internal ingress is responsible to route the traffic to the Kubernetes services. Can you please go through this documentation? This is an easy documentation which you can understand. Now, my recommendation for you is implement the same in real time. Implement the same in the real time. This is the technique which you need to follow, guys. Here, application gateway is capable to handle the WAF. You can integrate the WAF. The application gateway is capable to check the health of each and every service time to time. And each and everything is possible. The only thing is not possible application gateway is a DR is not possible. Disaster recovery you cannot handle. You cannot handle the DR. To handle the DR, again you need to have one front door here. If you have the front door, then only you can handle this one. That's why always the front door is very much responsible to handle your disaster recovery scenario. Disaster recovery means if something happens to your one region, Singapore region for example, you should be able to have the same network in the Hong Kong region. And front door should be able to route the traffic to the Hong Kong. That's what the DR, exactly. The DR handled load balancer is the front door, not the app gateway. App gateway cannot handle that, remember. Point to be noted, very important. So this is the network exactly try to implement in the real time. I think this is the best one which I can feel, and Azure also recommends the same. Okay, this is the best one now. Right guys, I think that is the exactly thing I just want to discuss, okay, for now. And I will finish the remaining architecture tomorrow at the front end components, and we'll discuss. I believe you're already aware of the deployment part and all. Maybe I will discuss with you more on the architecture. If you think any questions are there architecture wise, maybe you can ask me or something like that. I think we can make use the sessions like that. What do you think? Or you want me to show the practical deployment and exposing this one and just accessing from the public? Because if you already aware from your previous classes that it's completely a double discussion. It's a waste of time also. What do you think? Just need your idea on that.
Yeah, actually, RK, we are expecting what you're showing here in a diagrammatic way. So we need in a practical lab exercise.
Deployments, right? Just a deployment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we can keep this as a further reference whenever we are going to attend the interviews or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to Rajshekhar, the way you are explaining is good regarding the architecture. So I think there is in the market there is something called Istio, right? You might be aware of it.
Yeah,
Istio.
Istio is a service proxy which you will use to control the traffic in between the services. Okay. To be frank, okay, who is this guy? Kalyan, right? Kalyan. Kalyan. Okay. To be frank, Now my point is, see, the Kubernetes. What are the things I think Istio you just raised? Istio is the one of the proxy which helps you to just control the traffic in between the services. Okay. So that is the advantage of that one. So to be frank, I think not all the companies will use that one. And that is a very specific requirement, okay. But if you want to implement such kind of things, I think just try to implement. If you face an issue, let me know. I'll fix that. You understand, right? But if you come up with the different concepts like that, I think Kubernetes is a never-ending syllabus, okay. But my point is, get the basics from my end. Get the basics. How exactly the architecture, how exactly you need to take care, and implement those kind of small things from your end, okay. That's it.
Yeah, okay. If you do this real time, then we can add those things.
You guys can add it. To be frank, you guys can add that one easily.
Yeah,
that's not an issue.
Yeah, if we get any issues, then we will approach.
Yeah, no worries on that. No worries. Okay, so guys, I think that is all for today. I will just finish this particular architecture, and I will quickly deploy one application. Okay. By the way, one more thing. I think I just heard from Rajshekhar. Someone showed it's just a hello world application. No, it doesn't matter actually what kind of application we are showing. So you need to understand how the deployment is happening. Maybe I will take one internet project if you are required. Okay, maybe I will just go there to Google and just get one project from the internet. Not an issue. I will deploy that for you. But the point to be there, what exactly you need to think, okay, so how exactly we are doing the deployment, how exactly we are getting the response, how exactly you are submitting the transaction to the database or something like that. But you cannot convey the same thing to your real-time interviewer, okay? You cannot convey. I will tell why. Because as a DevOps engineer, you no need to explain about your project detail. Okay, your project, how exactly your project works, you no need to explain. But exactly how exactly your architecture works, how exactly your deployment works, how exactly the techniques you are using as part of CI/CD, how exactly you are using DevSecOps tools, how exactly you are safeguarding your application from the outsiders or hackers or vulnerabilities, VAPTs. These kind of things you need to aware more. Okay, not on the product wise. I sense it when someone is discussing, then I feel it. Okay, you no need to focus on the product, just focus on the deployment, focus on the architecture, focus on the network security things. Okay, that is important.
Yes, RK, I agree with you, but in that project we didn't see even a database. How
That's
we will
okay. I
connect to
think it's okay.
the
Okay, fine.
app
I will show
service.
you. I will show you the transaction
Yeah,
of the
that
database. Not an issue.
yeah, that is what we are expecting
No worries, no
actually.
worries.
How it will communicate
No
with
worries,
the
no worries.
application
Okay,
database.
okay, no worries. All right, no worries. That's easy only. Don't worry on that. Okay. Oh, fine, guys. Okay, so maybe I think we'll continue this part tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. See you all. Bye bye.
Thank you.